السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه ومن اتبع هداه إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد. Our session for today, inshallah, it's about Sadaqatul Fitr, because we are heading towards the end of Ramadan. So we need to know the ruling related to Sadaqatul Fitr. May Allah accept our fast and yours. First of all, we should know that our enemy, open enemy, the shaitan, works very hard to spoil this fast. Though the Prophet ﷺ said that the most rebellious maradat al-jinn, the marada, the most rebellious and wicked devils are chained, locked. But not all the jinn and the devils are chained. So they are working hard to spoil our fast. And also the shayateen of ins. The shayateen of ins, they are working few months before Ramadan to spoil Ramadan. Okay? Few months before Ramadan, they are preparing programs to spoil your fast. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, out of His mercy, because He knows this is going to happen to us, because we are not perfect, we are human beings, and the shaitan is going to spoil our fast, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us a chance through which we can expiate and through which we can make up for the deficiency and the imperfection that happened in our fast, which is zakatul fitr. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ, he said in many hadith that the family of the Prophet ﷺ, they are not allowed to take the sadaqah or the charity. Why? He said, إِنَّمَا هِيَ أَوْسَاخُ النَّاسِ. It is the dirt of the people. Why it is the dirt of the people? Because it purifies you. The sadaqah purifies you. It purifies you, that means it's taking your sins, and your sin is filth and dirt. And the family of the Prophet ﷺ, they should not take that. You understand now? Okay. So, and also, zakatul fitr, it is to get rid of the bad effects of the vain talks and vulgar talks and useless speeches in Ramadan that one did. And zakatul fitr is mandatory and obligatory and incumbent upon every Muslim on his behalf, and on the behalf of all the people who is in charge of. So the head of the family, his children, boys and girls, his wife, his grandparents if they are living with him, everyone, even his servant, the maid of the house, if she is living with him under the same roof, he has also to pay his zakah, and the slaves as well. Also, because this based on the hadith of Ibn Umar, and this hadith is Hasan. The degree of the hadith, it is Hasan, because hadith are two types, Sahih and Hasan, and both of them are authentic. So this hadith is Hasan. It is in Sunan Daraqutni and in Sunan Imam Bayhaqi. The Prophet ﷺ said that Ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma reported, Allah's Messenger ﷺ ordered and commanded Sadaqatul Fitr on behalf of the young and the old and the free and the slave whom you provide for. Even if this child is just born before the Eid. The child is born before Eid, on the Fajr of Eid, on the dawn of that Eid, we have to give Zakatul Fitr of that newborn. But if the child is still in his mother's womb, no. We don't give Sadaqatul Fitr. Though Uthman was doing that, but it is not necessary. So Zakatul Fitr has to be given in the form of food, because the Prophet ﷺ made it very clear regarding this. And this is the practice of the Prophet ﷺ and his companions. And some might raise the question. They say, now people, they are not in need of food. People now, they need money. First of all, we have to understand that Sadaqatul Fitr is one of the ibadat, right? It is an ibadah. So when it comes to the ibadah, we don't apply our logic, rational logic. We have to follow what the revelation says. Because the one who says that you give it in food is Allah, through His Prophet, right? Okay, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, وَمَا كَانَ رَبُّكَ نَسِيًّا. And your Lord never forget. He knows that money will come people, they will need this. He knows that. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He also said, أَلَا يَعْلَمُ مَنْ خَلَقَهُ اللَّطِيفُ الْخَبِيرُ. Shouldn't He not know? He that created, and He is the one that understands the finest mysteries and is well acquainted with them. So Allah knows. So we need to follow what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said and follow the instructions. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instructed His Prophet and informed His Prophet. And of course the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is the opinion of the three Imams. Imam Malik, Imam Shafi'i, Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal. The majority, the Jamhur, they are saying you give food. Imam Abu Hanifa is saying it is permissible to give it money. And he said that in the absence of the food. إِذَا تَعَذَّرْ. In the absence of the food, then you give it money, equivalent value. Ibn Abbas reported that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam enjoined zakatul fitr on the one who fasts to shield oneself from any indecent act or speech and for the purpose of providing food for the poor. It is accepted as zakah for the person who pays it before the Eid, Salah. And it is a mere sadaqah for the one who pays it after the Salah. This is in Sunan Abu Dawood and Nasa'i and Ibn Majah as well. So if I give the sadaqatul fitr after the Salah, then it is a normal sadaqah. It is not zakatul fitr. So we have to give it before. We have to give it before, even 3 days before. Even 3 days before, so that we give those who are in charge. And I'm sure in many places there are brothers who have lists of the families who are poor. And so when you give them the food, they know how the families, and they will go and deliver the food to the families. And maybe brothers and sisters living in the West, they say, we don't have poor families here, so what should we do? And people will not accept food. We say there are charity organizations, you give them the money, and then they can send this money to organizations in poor Muslim countries where they can buy the food and give it to the needy. So it is very simple. I'll give it money in my country. This organization will inform another organization in a poor country, please buy food. And take the food to the, and of course a person who is in need and a person who is poor, he will accept the food. If I bring him a sack of rice, will he reject it? No, he will not reject it. If I bring him a sack of wheat or flour, whatever, he will accept it. Okay? And only under certain circumstances, according to the opinion of Imam Abu Hanifa, for instance, I'm sure many years ago, when some of the Muslims countries, they adopted communism, Shuy'iyah. Okay, and the food was in limited quantity, and you have only a card, and you have to stand in a queue. So under such similar circumstances, we give it money, because it's very difficult to get the food. But under normal circumstances, this is an ibadah, and the best way is to give it out as food to the needy. And there should be also some Muslim organizations and some brothers voluntarily doing this. Voluntarily doing this, because that's what the Prophet ﷺ said, as Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu reported. He said, Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam entrusted me. That means he told me to shoulder this responsibility. He entrusted me to look after the zakah of Ramadan. He said, it is your duty, O Abu Hurairah, to collect the zakah of Ramadan. So there should be certain bodies or organizations and brothers in the locality, in the same area. They come to the people and say, okay, you don't know the poor, we know them. We'll make it easy for you. This is what we are doing. We are doing back home. We tell the people, you don't know, just bring your sadaqah, the food, to us. We know the families. Just drop it to the masjid, and we know the families, and we'll take your sadaqah or zakah to the poor. You are saying no one, we know. So there is no excuse for you. So the brothers in the certain area, they should have a list of the families, and they should make a survey, and they should know the families, so they go and take the food to the families. Also narrated Ibn Umar radiyallahu anhuma, that Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam prescribed as zakatul fitr payable by a slave, a free man, male and female, the young and the old among the Muslims, on breaking the fast of Ramadan, sa', which is almost 2.5 kilograms of dried dates, or sa' of barley, and gave command that this should be paid before the people went out to Eid prayer. Okay, so now we know. Yes, now we know that the the time that we should give the sadaqah, it's before the Eid. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days before that, no problem. In order to give those who are distributing this amount, sometimes you will have a lot of food. So you need time, because you are limited and there is a time constraint, so you need time to distribute it. So 3 days before that, no problem, inshallah. So give the charity organizations a chance. Give them a chance to so that they will be not rushed and they will not be squeezed to distribute it properly. Also, the hadith which is in Bukhari and Muslim, hadith Abu Sa'id, he said, at the time of Allah's apostle, Allah's messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we used to give out zakat al-fitr, a sa' of grain, or dried dates, or barley, or raisins. You see, nowadays, people, they say equivalent, I don't know in the different currencies, but in our currency back home, the UAE, they say about 15 dirhams, which is the price of 2.5 kilograms of rice or something. But how about if it is 1 sa' of raisin, zabib, then the price will be higher. Or if it is 1 sa' of dry cheese, the price will be high. So it depends on the food of the people in that country. So whatever you eat, you give to the people in that country, so that on that day, at least, this is one of the aspect of the mercy in Islam, that everyone on the day of Eid will be happy. Everyone. Because everyone will not be suffering, will not be hungry on that day. And imagine if this poor family, they got food of 1 year. Imagine the happiness. They have now stock for 1 year in their house. So they will not worry about 1 year, at least they have food for that. Because the community, the Muslims, they gave them the food. Then it's up to him whether to sell of it. Because sometimes many of us, we try to solve the problem of poverty through the sadaqatul fitr. We say no. Some might say, Akhi, this man, he needs money. This man, he needs money to buy clothes for his children, for instance. Say, all right, give him sadaqah, normal sadaqah. Why you want to solve this problem by sadaqatul fitr? Give him extra, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you for that. But please, sadaqatul fitr, leave it as it is. But we always justify, unfortunately, our miserliness and stinginess by just solving it through the sadaqatul fitr. And if this poor family, they decided, let's say now they have, mashallah, pile of sacks of rice, for instance, then they can sell from it if they like. Now, because now it is their own property, right? They can sell it and they can buy whatever they like. But at least we carried out the ibadah properly as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prescribed it. Because as I told you, the three Imams, Malik, Ahmad and Shafi'i, they said, we fear if someone gave it out as an equivalent price or an equivalent amount of money, that it might not be accepted. That's what they said. They said, we fear this. But I am sure if I give it out according to the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, for sure Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah, will accept it. So why should I take the risk, right? Why should I take the risk? Also, and of course, the sa' is what we call the prophetic sa'. The prophetic sa'. The measurements always set by the Prophet ﷺ. So there is a prophetic sa'. Those who went to Medina, they know it. And that's the standard. So we in Islam, we knew standardizations before anyone else. Before anyone, we knew standardization, and our Prophet ﷺ, he set the standards. So it is the prophetic sa', which is 3 muds, 3 handfuls, and of course by the hand of the Prophet ﷺ. And may Allah, inshallah, increase our knowledge, and may Allah help us always to love the sunnah and to abide to the sunnah and to hold it and bite it with our molar teeth, as he said. The more you abide yourself, the more you adhere to the sunnah, the more blessings and the more reward you get and the more strength you will get by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And may Allah increase our knowledge in His deen. Ameen, and accept our deeds and yours. And now we'll open the floor, inshallah, for questions related to the topic, inshallah. Yes?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. May Allah honor you, Sheikh Salim. What if the father or the guardian of the family is living in another country? Should he pay for the members of his family or should they pay for themselves?
Okay. The question should be phrased in this way. I mean, where should I give the zakat al-fitr? Is it where I am present or in my home country? For instance, a person who is not with his family and he is not attending the Eid with his family. They say he's in Makkah and the Eid is now, he will be not able to spend the Eid with his family. He should spend sadaqat al-fitr for himself in Makkah. And the rest of the family, they can spend sadaqat al-fitr in their country. But if they spend sadaqat al-fitr and they give sadaqat al-fitr on the behalf of their father, that will do, inshallah. That will do. But the best thing, wherever you are, you give sadaqat al-fitr. This is the sunnah. This is the sunnah. Next question, please.
Dear Sheikh, what about, you said that the Islamic organizations or mosques are entitled for receiving the zakat. Are there some other persons or other entities that are entitled to receive the properties of the zakat?
The answer for your question, who are to whom we can give the zakat al-fitr, this falls under the category who is the faqir and who is the miskin, and what is the difference between the two. But in the Quran we read and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, it can be given to the miskin and to the faqir, the poor, those who are, some of the jurists of the fuqaha, they said, those who cannot find the food of that day, which is very difficult. Because I don't know this family, they don't have the food of that particular day. But as long as I know that they are in need, I can give them the sadaqat al-fitr. Because if you read in Surah Al-Kahf, Allah said, regarding the shib, the safina, لِمَسَاكِينَ يَعْمَلُونَ فِي الْبَحْرِ. You see, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called them masakeen, poor, when they have a shib, they own a shib. But nevertheless, they are poor. Yes?
Is there any difference in terms of obligation between sadaqat al-fitr and zakah in general?
The question, all right. Is there a difference between sadaqat al-fitr and zakat al-fitr? These are synonymous terms. Sadaqat al-fitr and zakat al-fitr. But is there a difference?
No, I am talking about zakah in general, the obligatory charity known as zakah, and sadaqat al-fitr. Is there a difference between these two?
Yes, of course there is a difference. Because
I mean, in terms of obligation?
No, in terms of obligation, both are obligatory.
Okay.
In terms of obligation, both of them are obligatory. Zakat al-fitr is obligatory, it is fard, and the other zakah is obligatory. The only difference, for the other zakah, you need to have the nisab, you have to possess the amount of money, the nisab, which is a certain amount of money, and one complete year, which is lunar year, should pass over. Then you are obligated to give the zakah, which is 2.5%. But in terms of obligation, this is obligatory and this is obligatory. There's no difference at all between the two, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase, inshallah, our knowledge in His deen and accept our deeds and your deeds. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.